guys, and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. I almost kicked over my plant. I just set a 10-minute timer on my phone because I talk way too long. So whenever the timer's done, I'm gonna stop. But today I want to talk about shame and letting go of shame. Shame is the thing that makes us feel bad for what we have done. A lot of people confuse it with guilt. Guilt is usually felt because of things that you haven't done. And shame is something that you have done, so you can't really undo what you've done. There's a lot of different things that people feel shame about. A lot of people do feel shame about their past, and I know a lot of people who feel shameful for things that have happened to them, which is hard because you're not really in control of what had happened to you. A lot of the things I feel shameful for was my past. There was a lot of things when I was a kid that I just felt so much shame towards because I felt like I was completely alone. But the mass majority of things, probably actually everything that you ever going to feel shame about, you probably have somebody else who feels the exact same way and who has went through the exact same thing, which sometimes is kind of hard to believe because I know I've had a very traumatic childhood, and I look at some of the things and I'm like, yeah, there's no way that happened to other people. There's no way that happened to other people. And then I start opening up about it, and then I realize that pretty much everything somebody else has dealt with as well, or has dealt with a similar situation. So kind of when you don't feel like you're the only one, it kind of takes away the whole power of feeling shameful about it. It makes you feel like you can get through it because somebody else has. And also, I find sharing and talking about it takes the power away from whatever the thing is, because sometimes it's easy to give power to something. Like a lot of my childhood traumas, I felt like they were holding a lot of power onto me. And over me. And this year I've been really working on letting go of all the shame. Something I did was actually I wrote a letter to both of my parents, just kind of filling them in what shame I've held from my childhood and stuff like that. My father decided to never speak to me again, which is okay. And my mom was very accepting of it and kind of didn't realize a lot of what happened and how it affected me. And it actually helped her by me opening up to her, because she felt like she could have done a lot better as a parent, and she felt a lot of guilt and shame about what she didn't do, and a lot of shame about some of the things she did do. And by me opening up to her, and I let her know the things, how it made me feel, and kind of what it made me lack. My neighbor's watching me right now. Kind of made me some of the things that made me lack as an adult, and just kind of filling her in about things, like some of the bad things that happened that I felt shame about, and what it taught me and things like that. And it was quite freeing, and actually helped my mom a lot, because she's actually kind of started looking into other things, and I feel like it kind of made her grow as a person as well. So by talking about the things, it takes away the power. There's so many things that I've never talked about because of fear, I guess, and I held them in for years, and I felt like a terrible person about it, and it just was so freeing to let it go. I actually wrote out this thing. It was called The Biggest Shame of My Life, or something like that, and it consisted of 6 different stories of 6 different things that happened, 5 or 6 different things that happened to me as a child, and teenage years kind of thing. And I sent it off to all my best friends, or something like that. I think I sent it off to 4 or 5 people, and each of those ones could relate, whether it was something that happened to them or something that happened to somebody close to them. And those are things, some of them were things I've never said out loud before, and it really took away its power. And I no longer feel like that is something that's holding over me, and I feel like I've let that go by talking openly about it and realizing that I wasn't in the wrong, and things that happened to me, I was a kid, I was innocent, it wasn't my fault, even if I was the one doing it. when you are a child, you are innocent no matter what you do because of the whole you being a kid and not knowing everything in the world. Like, you know, when you're 9 years old, you don't know everything that's right and wrong. You haven't been taught everything that's right and wrong. You haven't learned everything that's right and wrong. You don't know. So if you make a mistake when you're that young, you aren't to blame for it. Generally, not always, but generally it's your parents who are to blame for something that you don't know. Not always. I don't want to say, that sounds really bad. I don't want to put blame on all parents, but I'm saying that generally everything you learn as a kid is because of adults in your life. You don't, or other kids who learn from adults. So kind of all, that's a lot of pressure to put on parents, but a lot of the things that you did not know is due to lack of knowledge, or you haven't crossed that path in your life yet, so you don't know. So you can't really be to blame. But by me opening up about that, it made me feel so much better about myself, because it was something that I held on to for a lot of years, and that would have been in like either December or January, something like that, that I actually opened up about those things. And then the parent writing thing was in February, I believe, like end of February, beginning of March. So this year has been a lot of letting go of shame. And slowly I've opened up about more and more and more. I'm actually currently writing a book as well, just a memoir of my life story, because I did have quite a crazy life, but I do hope to one day get it published. No, sorry, I will get it one day published, whether I self-publish or have a publisher, so that I can share my story so that other people know that they're not alone. And a lot of it is hard to write, but I know that once I type it out and once I get through it all, it will help take the shame away, because I know that one day when I get to share my story, that I will have people being able to relate to probably every single thing that happened in that book, which doesn't belittle my shame at all. It doesn't make me feel like my shame wasn't as bad as I think it was, because whatever happened to you is as bad as you feel. You do not, like, I used to let other people be like, oh, that's not bad, this happened to me. Or, oh, that's not bad, you could have had it worse, and things like that. Yes, things can always be worse. No matter how bad you have it, it could always be worse, just like things can always be better. It's never going to be the worst thing ever, and it's never going to be the best thing ever. Like, there's always going to be something that could one-up it. But by feeling like I'm not alone, it takes away the power from it, and by sharing it, it takes away the power, because it's no longer having power over me. It's no longer making me feel like a bad person, because I'm actually sharing it and being like, hey, this shit happened to me, and guess what? I survived. I turned out pretty good, I would say. I didn't turn into another statistic or anything like that. Like, I turned into something beyond what I should have been, kind of thing. And so it makes me feel good to share about those things. Like, memoirs are my favorite type of book to read, just because of reading people's fucked up pasts and seeing how successful they are, especially comedians. Comedy actually comes from a very dark place. So if you read somebody like Amy Schumer or Tiffany Haddish, if you read their memoirs, you kind of are like, holy fuck, like, they've had fucked up lives or had really fucked up situations come from them, but you see how successful they still are regardless of their past. I really like seeing that, because then you see they gave up the shame, they shared their story no matter how hard it was to share, and been like, hey, like, I'm still successful. Or you look at The Glass Castle's a really popular one, and you see her fucked up life. Her life was fucked up, and she turned into this amazing author and editor, and she's like this unreal person. But you see, by letting go of that shame, you no longer can have the power over it. My time is running out, 30 seconds left. So I'm actually just gonna end the video there, but I know it's like a random area to end the video, but I will be talking a lot more about shame, because shame is something that I'm really, really working on, and I really hope to share my experiences with letting go of shame, so that I can maybe help other people let go of shame, or other people can, I don't know, put that idea in their head so that they could maybe help get rid of their shame, which will help you grow as a person, which will make your life, I feel like, your life a little bit better. Yes. Anyways, that is all. If you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you don't, give it a big thumbs down. And I will catch you guys in the next video.